You know, every single device you carry, your phone, your watch, your earbuds, is constantly broadcasting an invisible signature. It's a unique fingerprint that's telling a story about you. So what story is it telling? And maybe more importantly, who's listening?
And look, we're talking about a language that goes so much deeper than just your location or what you've been Googling. It's all happening in the radio frequency spectrum. And believe it or not, it can reveal some incredibly intimate details, not just about who you are, but even how you're feeling at this very moment.
So what is this thing called? Well, the technical term is your personal RF signature. The best way to think about it is like an invisible fingerprint. Or, and I really love this analogy, a digital exhale. It's this constant, totally unique cloud of data that just follows you around, all created by the signals from your gadgets.
All right, so how on earth is this fingerprint even made? And how does anyone read it? Well, it turns out it's this really fascinating mix of signals your devices are sending out on purpose and, get this, signals they're leaking completely by accident.
Okay, so think of it this way. Every single device has a voice. That's its intentional signal, right? The Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth, the stuff designed to carry information. But here's the kicker. It also has an accent, and that's the unintentional electronic noise it makes just from being powered on. It's that accent, that little accidental leak, that's the key to making its signature one of a kind.
So why does this even work? Because no two devices are ever perfectly identical. I mean, we're talking about tiny, microscopic flaws and variations from the manufacturing line. And those little differences mean that every single phone, every laptop, has a slightly different signal pattern. It's actually the imperfections that make its radio signature as unique as a real fingerprint.
Okay, so how does this invisible signature get turned into actual data about you? Well, it's basically a four-step process. First up, sensors have to capture all those emissions. Then AI comes in to pick out your specific, unique fingerprint from all that background noise. After that, it's pretty straightforward. Systems can track that fingerprint wherever you go, and finally, they start building this really detailed profile of your habits and your life.
Right. So which devices are we actually talking about here? What's creating this signature? The answer might surprise you because it's basically everything you're carrying right now. In your pocket, in your bag, on your wrist.
Your smartphone is, of course, the lead violin in this orchestra, right? It's broadcasting on all these different frequencies, but it is definitely not a solo performance. You've got your AirTags, your fitness tracker, even your contactless credit cards and medical devices like pacemakers. They're all playing their own part, adding their own notes to create this personal RF symphony. So we've established this unique signature is following us around 24/7. The big question is, what can someone actually learn from it? And I have to be honest, the answer is a whole lot more than I was comfortable finding out.
Okay, let's start with the basics. It can easily map out your life, your daily commute, when you get to work, when you go to bed. And here's a really crucial point. Because this fingerprint is tied to the physical hardware of your device, it can identify it no matter what. It totally bypasses privacy settings like MAC address randomization. You see, that's just a software trick. This is a hardware signature.
But honestly, tracking your location? That's just scratching the surface. Where this technology is going, well, it goes much, much deeper. We're talking about stuff that is incredibly personal.
I mean, for starters, signals from medical devices can obviously give away hints about your health. But this is the part that is just mind-blowing. Researchers at MIT figured out how to use regular everyday Wi-Fi signals to measure your breathing and your heart rate with stunning accuracy. And from that data, their system, they called it EQ radio, could actually figure out your emotional state, whether you were stressed or happy or sad, all just by analyzing how radio waves bounce off you in a room. Wild, right?
And please don't think this is just some weird lab experiment. No, these kinds of capabilities are being used out in the real world today. And that, as you can imagine, brings some very, very serious risks.
To really understand the danger here, you just have to listen to this quote. It's from a domestic violence survivor named Sarah. She said, "I never imagined that the wireless signals from my own devices could be used to track and harass me." I mean, for her, this wasn't some cool new tech. It was a weapon. So when you look at it, the risks really fall into three big buckets. First, you've got the immediate threat to your personal safety, things like stalking. Then you have medical vulnerabilities. I mean, could someone intercept data from or even disrupt a pacemaker? It's a scary thought. And finally, there's the bigger societal risk of mass surveillance, whether that's by companies or by governments.
Okay, I know. Hearing all of this, it is really easy to feel, well, pretty powerless. But here's the good news. You're not. There are absolutely concrete steps you can take to start managing your invisible fingerprint and take back a little bit of control.
First off, it's probably good to know that these emissions are regulated for safety. The FCC, for example, has a hard limit on how much RF energy your body can absorb. Now, to be clear, that's really about preventing physical harm from heat. It's not about privacy. But it's a good reminder that, hey, we already have frameworks in place for managing these kinds of signals.
So what can you actually do? It really boils down to a few key habits. First, manage your settings. Use airplane mode strategically. Second, think about physical shields. An RFID blocking wallet is a super simple way to protect your cards. Third, create distance. Signal strength drops off like a cliff just a few feet away from your body. And of course, the classics. Always keep your software updated and just try to be more aware of your digital environment.
So, in the end, your digital fingerprint really is as unique as you are, and it's broadcasting your story 24/7, whether you like it or not. So that really just leaves us with one final, very important question. Who do you want reading it?